Hi folks, it's Silver Dave, and in this video, we are going to talk about trillion-dollar silver. Yes, that's right. I said trillion-dollar silver. That is not a decimal error. I'm going to explain what I mean in this video. Stay tuned. Hi folks, welcome back. It's Silver Dave from local Silver Mint in Weare, New Hampshire, where we have the best selection and prices on the most wonderful silver, gold, and platinum from all around the world. That's right, folks. Check us out at our showroom in Weare, New Hampshire, or check out our product, Silver Bits, the ultimate barter tool. That's right, Silver Bits with a Z at the end. Check it out. Links are below. Now, let's get into it. I introduced this video and I said trillion-dollar silver. That was not an accident. I said it. And in this next few minutes, I intend to explain what I mean by trillion-dollar silver. You might be like, Dave, trillion-dollar silver. Oh, I'm getting very frustrated at the idea. Hold on, folks. There's a reason. There's a reason for everything. All right. So I'm going to explain what I mean. So here we go. First, I just want to talk about some things we're seeing that relate to this. We're going to paint a picture. I want to bring you in on target, kind of like if you were on a mountaintop and you had your laser and a fixed wing aircraft is coming in to drop arms and you got to go in and paint the target for them, bring them in on target. Obviously, this is a little different than that, but it's kind of the same too if you're into that kind of stuff. All right, so people are saying, they're like, Dave, oh, actually, wait, I just realized, I forgot to tell you, you might be like, Dave, how come you're not at the showroom walking backwards around the tables? That's because we're at our new headquarters building. We've got this new factory that we're setting up so we can increase our production capacity, reduce our production costs on Silver Bits. Silver Bits, the product that we're making, we're very excited about Silver Bits, and it's basically the ultimate barter tool, lowest price in its product category for 1/10 ounce silver, Silver Bits. You can check out the link below and find Silver Bits. You can buy them. I highly recommend you do. So please check out Silver Bits with a Z. We love them. I want to fill my bathtub. All right. So now that I've covered that, that's why we're in this different place. And so finally getting into it, people are saying, Dave, how come silver, gold, platinum, Bitcoin, and the stock market are all going up? What does this mean? What is going on? Well, I reserve the right to be wrong because sometimes I'm wrong. So I don't want to say like, oh, but I feel pretty good that this has something to do with the massive amount of dollar inflation that they're doing. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me just put this into perspective for a second. Keep my notes there. So first off, maybe you want me to just walk a little so that you don't get bored of me just standing still. They're like, Dave, we like to see you walking. And the cameraman, he's like, my wrist is getting bored. So the thing is that they passed the big, beautiful bill. But that wasn't enough. They also spending gratuitous amounts of money. And to top it off, the Congress and the various, they're like, oh, government shutdown, we need more money. Otherwise, we're going to have a government shutdown. They're going to spend even more money. The big, beautiful bill adds $5 trillion to the expenses. And the expenses were only $6.5 trillion. They just added $5 trillion to the $6.5 trillion that they were spending. So they were $6.5 trillion. Now they're going to be $11.5 trillion. Weimar Germany, anybody? Now, that is some major dollar inflation coming. This is coming in hard and fast, kind of like a parachutist without a parachute. Hard. Boom. Not the best way to jump. I always recommend jump with a second parachute, but we're going to move on. So all this dollar inflation. Well, I have this feeling that has something to do with the price of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, cryptocurrencies, stock market. Everyone thinks they're making lots of money right now. But here's the funny part. They're losing money right now. People are seeing all these things going up. They're like, oh, we're doing so good. Wait till you see your replenishment cost. If you have a store and you sell goods and services, and you sell a whole bunch of your stuff for 25% more than you paid for it. And then you're like, oh, my stocks are growing up, all my stuff's going up. But then when you go to buy your replenishment and you see that they raised the prices 30%, and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought we were ahead. I thought we made 25%. We're actually down 5%. That's the thing about the inflation, is that the cost of everything is going up faster than your ability to replace it. And like Milton Friedman, who I liked a lot, Milton Friedman, in fact, his son, David Friedman, yelled at me once because we were because he didn't believe in pure silver coins. That's what everyone wants. Anyway, so he's great. Anyway, Milton Friedman mentioned that the last thing to be affected by inflation is your wages. So it means everything is going up and up and up. And then your wage is like the last thing to go up at that. So you get just obliterated with expenses and you just get bankrupted. So as much as it looks like everyone's doing good right now, it's actually kind of bad. Now, if you're into silver or gold or some particular thing that's going to be going up a lot because of this, you might do a lot better. That's why I'm into silver, if you didn't know. And I like silver in little pieces that you can use for direct barters and trades, not that you have to sell back for dollars to be able to utilize. Because in the process of selling back for dollars, you're going to lose some percentage. There's going to be some cost to doing it. And do you really want to get dollars that are being hyperinflated? You're going to get them today to buy a loaf of bread tomorrow, but tomorrow when you buy a loaf of bread, the price is twice as high. So that's why being able to get silver in small increments that you can trade directly with your local farmer, your local supplier of things, your local economy, in the event of a financial calamity, let's just say maybe one happens. It happens over and over again throughout history. And if people thought that it would never happen again because of America and blah, 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 well, look, all the signs are there. So why everything is going up together, to me, has a lot to do with the inflation that they're creating. And they are really going hard, hard, hard. Now, you might think that this is as hard as it can get in terms of how much they're inflating the currency. But actually, I think it can get a lot more ridiculous. And I'm going to show you a chart coming up soon in this video that might just knock your socks off, and it's going to help quantify how I can say $1 trillion silver and not actually be crazy. And actually not crazy at all, at least in this particular sector. So, why everything's going up? Because they're inflating the currency. The purchasing power of the dollar is going down. And so in turn, the cost of buying things going up, not because things are becoming more valuable, but because dollars are becoming less valuable as they just create a massive ocean of them, digitally distributing them to their friends. Now the next thing I want to share with you before we pull up this awesome chart, going back to Weimar Germany. Weimar Germany, when they destroyed their currency in roughly 1924, there are many different testimonies from people that claimed that they bought the entire building in downtown Berlin with 50 ounces of silver. That's right. There are many testimonies from people that indicate that they bought an entire building in downtown Berlin or similar for 50 ounces of silver. So, silver price could go a lot higher. But let's take a look at this graph, folks. Oh, I can't wait to show you this. All right, so here we go. Now, I'm going to do this 1980s weatherman style. So you're probably looking right now and you might not see anything yet. But soon, our video editor is going to do an incredible thing, and he's going to put this chart right here, and I'm going to point at it, and I'm going to talk about it. And so we'll see if I even point at the right places. But so if I point at entirely wrong places and it's all, don't worry, just comment and be like, Dave, you're pointing at all the wrong places. We don't even see you're pointing the wrong place. Yeah, okay. Tell me in the comments. Make it funny. I like that. So hopefully I can do this pretty decent. And so looking at this chart here, okay, this chart is the value of one gold mark in paper marks, meaning how much it would cost you to buy one gold mark in paper marks. Note that most of the gold coins were 20 marks, and that was a little less than an ounce of gold. So one gold mark is a couple grams of gold, okay? So here we go. I should also add that one mark coin was usually about a half ounce of silver. Very important for this video. Half ounce of silver, 1 mark, 20 marks, usually a little less than an ounce of gold. So in this chart, we can see that roughly around 1920, the price of one gold mark in paper marks was around 10. That's right. So if you were to buy a gold mark, a couple grams of gold, or a half ounce of silver with paper marks, you would pay around 10 marks. 10 marks. And that was around 1920. And then we can see here, 1920, 1921, right around 1922, this thing starts cranking. And it starts going sky high. We're talking about it goes up 1921 and a half. We're at 1,000 paper marks for one gold mark. And then 1922, 10,000 paper marks for a gold mark. 1923, 1,000,000 paper marks for a gold mark. And then look at this. Wait for it, folks. Here we go. 1924, 1 trillion paper marks for one gold mark. 1 trillion paper marks for the equivalent of about 2 grams of gold or 1/2 an ounce of silver. 1 trillion marks. Wow. Now, you're like, but Dave, that was in Weimar Germany, and it's not the same anymore. Everything is different. No, things are pretty much the same. This is like, okay, great. So you got like an iPhone now. Before you had like a crank phone thing, or maybe not even that. You had a like cup with a string. But other than that, most of these things are the same. Gold, silver, still the most valuable assets on the planet, massively useful. Thousands of things can be made with either. And so why this matters is because when a government starts really losing it, they start inflating their currency. And then at some point, there's no turn back. And they're just cranking it hard and hard and hard and hard. And so in turn, when I say $1 trillion silver, it's actually not so crazy. And when I've made videos in the past about $1,000 silver, $10,000 silver, or even this video, $1 trillion silver, the thing is that it's all about how far they take the inflation before they replace the currency. And so as we see the price of silver, gold going up, we are going to see most things going up. Your electric bill expected to go up. Your gas bills expected to go up. Your eggs, chicken, steak, expect to pay more for steak for a lot of reasons on the steak. I had this bet going with my mom that steak was going to become a delicacy in the next few years where only the richest people will be able to afford it. Both because the price of it can go up so much, but not just because of the inflation, but also because there's like a war on beef. They're like, oh, carbon footprint and all this stuff, which is probably a scam. That almost everything these guys tell us is a scam. And we're being frauded in so many ways. It's absolutely, truly remarkable that these guys are diabolic geniuses. But beef, I think it's going to go up a lot. The problem with beef, it's hard to stack a lot of beef because it spoils, or you have to freeze it. Silver, gold doesn't spoil, stacks really good, translates back into other stuff very easily, including beef. So when we see the price of silver going up, $500, $1,000, totally possible. It's not crazy at all to think that silver could go as high as the inflation takes it. And so how high will that be? Well, I don't know, because I don't know how far they're going to take it before they transition the new currency. What I do think is that they're going to transition us to central bank digital slave currency. That's right, central bank digital slave currency. It is the most dangerous thing on the planet to freedom and liberty for Americans or anyone, anywhere. There's nothing more dangerous, no army, no gun, no bomb, that is more dangerous to freedom and liberty than the central bank digital slave currency. And so, in order to get people onto the central bank digital slave currency, I would predict that they would do it in the same way that they railroaded people into the Federal Reserve System. Now, how did they do that? Great question. So, 1907, and by the way, we're going to connect this to some other stuff too. But in 1907, there were over 20,000 privately issued currencies in America from private banks all across the country, all different bank names, and that those currencies were all functioning until around 1907, when I would suggest a calculated, orchestrated bank crash occurred. And there's lots of information you can read about this, for example, in a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island, written by a wonderful guy, G. Edward Griffin, awesome dude. And he's exposed some incredible stuff. But he explains that very well, highly recommended. So in 1907, in an orchestrated bank crash, some high bigwig people paid for some articles suggesting that the banks were insolvent. And then it came widespread news. And of course, when people get scared, the banks don't have the money, and they all go to the bank at the same time to take their money out. Of course, the bank doesn't have the money because the banks don't have the money. That's how it works. The banks loan the money out, so they don't really have the money to give it back to you if you went to go take it all at the same time. So 1907, massive bank crash. And then, of course, the Federal Reserve System, which was ready to go. And so they got people, instead of forcing people to take the Federal Reserve System, they got people to beg for the Federal Reserve System. They got them to beg for it because people wanted commerce and exchanges to resume and things to go back to normal so that they could have food and supplies and things like that. So that was 1907, and that's how they ushered in the Federal Reserve System. Now, here we are, 100 and some odd years later. They made sure they waited long enough for the people who remembered to die off. They made sure that grandpas and the people who might have been like, wait, I've seen this before. They made sure those guys died off, and now here we are. And so I would suggest that in order to get people into the central bank digital slave currency, they are actually, instead of forcing people to take it, they're going to get people to beg for it. And I would suggest that they're going to do that by crashing the system again. They crash the system, but they have the solution ready to go. So there's this disaster, but there are these saviors to save us and rescue us with this new system that's going to keep us safe. Of course, people don't realize that these guys created the problem in the first place. So with that being said, I see them transitioning the currency, and very soon. They need to do it soon because no one can calculate the taxes anymore. It is so hard to calculate the taxes, especially with the cryptos. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to freaking figure out the taxes. They got people on overdrive at the IRS trying to figure it out. But when they have the central bank digital currency, they won't have to do much work at all. It'll all be happening automatically. And it gives them tons of power because they can decide if and when or from who, if at all, you buy things. And they can know who bought it and who sold it, what it was, when it was, and they can deny it. They can say, oh, I'm sorry, you don't get to make any purchases. We've deactivated your digital wallet until you go to the medical center and have some particular spiky procedure done for you. And so they may say, sorry, you didn't get the spiky thing. You can't buy or sell anything until you get the spiky thing. And they can shut you off. That's so dangerous. They can make you do anything. And if you have no way to buy food or supplies, they have you buy the, you know what I mean? Ow. So that's not good. That's why you need silver bits. It's little pieces of silver that you can trade directly. You put it in the guy's hand. Like, Dave, how do silver bits work? You take the silver bit and you put it in the other guy's hand, and then he gives you stuff. Oh, but do you need the internet? No, you don't need the internet. Oh, but I must need like a digital wallet or an account. No, you don't need an account. You hand it to the guy, and he hands you stuff back. Oh my goodness. So silver bits, very important to have so that you can do trades or exchanges in small increments during the central bank digital slave currency when it's out. So very, very important to have some little pieces of silver. If the silver price goes up to $5,000 an ounce or $1 trillion an ounce or whatever, you're going to have a lot of trouble trading 100-ounce bars for eggs. But you still want eggs, right? Like your wife's going to be like, honey, go out and get us some food and don't come back until, and you got your 100-ounce bar and you're like, oh, but we got such a low price over spot when I bought this, so I bought 100-ounce bars. Great job, sir. Good luck. When you get to the farmer's market and you put out $100 trillion worth of silver for a dozen eggs, good luck getting change back. And also good luck not getting robbed. They're going to probably beat the crap out of you, take the silver, and you're going to go back to your home with your wife with 3 black eyes. How did you get 3 black eyes? Wow. And she's going to be like, honey, did you bring home food? No, I got 3 black eyes. I lost the silver and I didn't get any food. You should have got silver bits. You're going to put 1 out there. And the guy will be like, yes, I have this eggs. I have this vegetables. But I'll stop infomercialing you on the silver bits because I want to just say one last important thing before we close this video. Cryptocurrencies. I would suggest that, that the cryptocurrencies have a similar fate as the privately issued currencies of 1907. Now, why do I say that? Well, first, I'm going to say that I know the global power elite want a central bank digital currency for the control and for the tracking and the tracing and the streamlining of extorting the taxes. With that being said, get this. In 1907, like I said, that there's over 20,000 privately issued currencies in America in 1907. And then they crashed them all for one, the Federal Reserve System. Well, now, today, 2025, get this, there are over 21,000 privately issued cryptocurrencies on the common exchanges. Do you think that the global power elite are going to want to let 21,000 alternative options to their currency exist? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think that they're going to crash those ones too. And the beauty of it, and actually, just one more smidge. I know I said there's 21,000 cryptocurrencies on the common exchanges. The funny thing, this is even funny. That's on the common exchanges. There's 21,000 of them on the common exchanges, but there's over 3 million unique cryptocurrencies that exist. Over 3 million different ones, that most of which, of course, you never heard of. Kind of sounds like everyone's jumping into this thing and it's highly unregulated, but that's not going to last. And that they would all destroy the value of each other because if there's an infinite amount of them, infinite as opposed to finite, it's not going to last. So anyway, with that being said, I see them crashing the cryptos in order to get people to beg for a new, federally insured, regulated, safe cryptocurrency that keeps them safe from the horrible crypto crash of 2025 or 2026. And they'll blame it on that, but they've allowed these things to exist. And I have a lot more data on that. It's incredible the amount of data I have on that, But of course, a lot of people, no matter how much data you give them, will never be enough because they are emotionally attached to a certain idea. And it's okay. Eventually, they might learn, and they may not learn. They may actually die, never knowing. Many people will. So, with that being said, I think the last piece of this is that they're going to use the cryptos to pump lots of the inflation into it. That way, they don't have to have the silver, gold, and platinum go all the way super insane, but that instead they can pump a lot of it into the cryptos, particularly Bitcoin, and it sucks a lot of the money in, which of course they're getting that money. They created that. I have a lot of detailed files on this, but that they're allowing it. But I think that that's a way for them to keep the metals prices a little lower while they're still accumulating more of it, and to prevent us from noticing the clear and obvious hyperinflation that's rapidly upon us. And so cryptos, though I do think Bitcoin probably going to go up a lot more in order to tantalize people and to suck their money into it too. But it's nothing. And I would say that it's going to go up a lot before it goes to zero. Now, the question is, are you going to want to be in there when it goes to zero? You're going to be like, wow, it's up to 200, up 250, up, and it's gone. So, you may want to think about that. I like to get into things that are real, tangible things. And so, that being said, are we in the midst of the hyperinflation? Not sure, but we're close. I feel like this next few years, definitely before 2030, I see the central bank digital currency being in place. And so I think the prices, we're going to see crank for years to come. And I think it may go so far that you may never even have believed it was possible, to include possibly as far as $1 trillion silver. Will it stop at 1,000, 10,000, 50 million, 1 trillion? Don't know, but it's going to probably go all the way until it gets bad enough around here for people to beg for something new. And then that something new will have already been prepped and ready to go. So I hope this information has been useful to you. I hope that this has been helpful and that you can, find some good in this. We probably went a lot longer than I thought we were getting. But if you have any feeling on it and you want to comment down below and you want to say, Dave, this makes a lot of sense. Or you want to say, Dave, you're crazy. Or you want to say both. You're like, Dave, this does make a lot of sense, but you are crazy. I know. And you have to be crazy to do what I'm doing. This is so crazy. My life every day is so insane. Doing a silver operation, this thing has been crazy. It's like trying to ride two wild bulls at the same time. I don't know how you come up with that, but that's what it feels like in a lot of ways. And they're also like kicking me and slapping me and stuff. Bulls slap, I have no idea. So thank you so much for watching, folks. If you like this video, please feel free to click like. If you think your friends should see it, share it with them. If you want to participate with us in the future and get notified when we put out new videos, then I recommend you click the little subscribe thing and click the little bell thing so it goes ding and tells you when we put out a video. We really want to share these videos with you. And also, I will say I am very grateful to those of you that made it all the way to the end of this video. I thank you so much for watching, and I just want to remind you to stack it up. Yes, you got to stack it up, and you got to keep on stacking. Don't stop stacking until the stacking is done. Oh, yeah, stack it up. Thank you, folks. I'm Silver Dave, and I'm out.